When there's no more podcasts in hell, Diabolical will walk the earth with spoilers for Dawn of the Dead.
You are listening to Diabolical Evil Schemes Done Better, the podcast where four long-suffering friends dissect film's most dastardly schemes, then try to improve them. I'm your host, Adam, and this week we shall be competing to improve the villainous scheme of George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. So, don't go in that room and mind where you're pointing that gun, and let's get diabolical. Welcome to this week's episode. We've got a lot to talk about this week, so let's not waste any time and get straight into the introductions and opening question. What would be your zombie character or costume? And this week, we're picking for each other, and we'll start with Ben.
Hi, Ben here, and I'm picking for Craig. That was what I was given. And there's only one thing I want to see Craig in. And that's Michael Jackson's Thriller zombie outfit.
Wow, that's a good one.
Because I want to see him just tossing popcorn into his mouth with reckless abandon.
Gay abandon, yeah. That's a good one. I like that.
Do you mean you were picking for Super Dude, by the way?
Oh, shit. You fucked up. Oh, you fucked up, baby.
You've insulted him.
I don't think there's anyone in this world who could pull off Michael Jackson's Thriller outfit better than our good friend Super Dude.
Quite right.
There we go. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
And as he's mentioned you, Super Dude.
Greetings, Peril Pals. Super Dude here. I've got the pleasure of picking Gaz this week. And I've gone for something that I think would be very dear to Gaz's heart if he got to choose himself. And Gaz's zombie persona is Gaz the Zombie.
Whoa.
Put a lot of thought into that one.
Magnifique.
His zombie outfit is the tattered remains of his own clothes.
And I do wear my clothes until they're tattered, and my wife makes me throw them away.
That's so true.
His underpants currently, only the waistband adheres to his skin. Everything else is dangling down.
That gusset is long gone, let me tell you.
I don't know why he just doesn't give it up and go for sweatpants.
When you assigned Gaz to me, I knew exactly what I was going to do right away.
Very good, very good. And Gaz.
This is Gaz, and I have been assigned the task of picking Adam's zombie outfit. And the first thing that leapt to my mind was that he could be a Klingon zombie, which I think would be visually quite appealing and would appeal to Adam's sensibilities.
Yes,
and he could be all like, I want to eat your brains, like Klingons like to do. So it all comes together in, nice interlocked way.
Actually, all I'd have to say is Minsk. Well, as for me, I've picked, I've chosen myself for Ben, and I imagine Ben in knee-length dungarees, wearing one of those little hats with a propeller on top. And then in each hand, he has two oversized lollipops that have become stuck to his hands and he can't remove them.
That's good, actually.
It's strangely non-specific and very specific, this idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not. It's a very unique creation.
Yeah, I thought that kind of fitted with his persona.
And have I put that on post becoming a zombie, or was that what I was wearing beforehand?
That was what you were wearing before he became a zombie.
Okay, good.
It's kind of a jinx.
It's how you died. You had a gun. You had two guns, but unfortunately your lollies were stuck to your hands. Didn't know what to do.
It was that day where you thought, you know what, to hell with it. I'm going to go and wear this stuff and I don't care. And the moment you stepped outside, you got bitten by a zombie.
And you went, old days.
Shuffling across an empty room, and moaning more than your mum than when I was ploughing her. A new segment takes its place in my lineup of nonsensical genius. So can I have a or a for the following zombie film titles, please? Zombie Fight Club.
Never seen it.
Never seen it.
Gaz was right there. It is an actual film. It was made in 2014, yeah. So well done to Gaz.
What? That's not how we usually play Yellow Man.
No. This is a new segment. I told you, it's completely new.
And it's nonsensical. All right.
Nonsensical.
Okay.
Next one. Spring Break Zombie Cruise, Death Trip.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, Super Do got that one. It's actually called Spring Break Zombie Massacre, and that was released in 2016.
Nice.
Next, The Incredibly Strange Creatures Who Stopped Living and Became Mixed Up Zombies.
Yeah.
You're all correct. That was a film released in 1964, so well done.
What? It's called Becamed.
It's called The Incredibly Strange Creatures Who Stopped Living and Became Mixed Up Zombies.
You said Becamed the first
No,
time. That's why
did
I was...
Maybe I did. You were all right. You all said it was a film, so, you know.
I don't know what I said, to be honest.
I think you said...
Sounds like something he'd say.
And last but not least, The Astro Zombies. Oh, well, you're all wrong. It was a film, actually, and it was released in 1968.
I was in the affirmative. That was an affirmative growl.
No.
Oh.
You were nodding your head, but you were saying no.
My mouth was saying no, but my eyes were saying yes.
The listeners can't see you nodding your head, I'm afraid. Written, directed, and edited by George A. Romero, Dawn of the Dead was released in 1978. The film follows 4 survivors who escape the city of Pittsburgh, seeking refuge in a shopping mall during a zombie apocalypse. The screenplay came to the attention of Master of Horror Dario Argento, his brother Claudio, and Alfredo Cuomo, who agreed to fund production in exchange for international distribution rights. With a budget estimated between $640,000 and $1.5 million, it grossed approximately $66 million worldwide. Known for its social commentary on consumerism, fantastic score, wacky comedic moments, and its graphic violence, the film became a cult classic. Its legacy on the zombie genre is unsurpassed, launching the career of Tom Savini, and even little old Zack Snyder had a cheeky little crack at a remake in 2004. However, before we get our thoughts on the film, I have a few questions. Super Dude, in your head, they are crying. What's in your head? What's in your head?
Well, mostly try to think about pleasant things, not the darkness of the world.
Speaking of Zack Snyder, really a nice subtle touch when he used that particular song at the end of his Army of the Dead film, wasn't it? Really, yeah. Nice, clever.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was a nice thought you had there, but I was looking for zombie, a.
Maybe if you give me multiple choice, zombie, or zombie, then I would have got it.
Gaz, it was a blank jamboree, took place in a New York cemetery. It was a blank jamboree, took place in a New York cemetery. Fill in the blank.
A junior school Welsh pop song jamboree.
So close, so close. You were very close. It was a zombie jamboree, actually. Yeah. Which is a song by Harry Belafonte, but it's been covered numerous times, apparently.
I've never heard of it, so I shan't be listening to this section when the episode comes out. I'll simply do a 15-second skip Not once, not twice, but thrice.
Fair enough. Ben, die, you blank bastards. We know what you want. Die, you blank bastards. Keep on, blah, blah, blah.
Orphaned.
What do they want?
Porridge, obviously.
I would have thought you know this since you're a fan of Weezer, a Weezer song called Zombie Bastards.
Yeah, but I was quoting the original.
Oh, okay. Yeah, by Chopin, yeah. Right, well, thank you once again for your input there. We are going to move on to what we thought of the film. Super Dude. I know you've watched this film at least twice this week, so why don't you kick us off with your thoughts?
I was never as enamored of it as you were when we were teens. I don't quite know why that is, because very clearly it's a brilliantly made film and it's not aged as well as some of the films of its day, but in other ways it's grown in my esteem because I'm more into that kind of thing now. So I watched the extended can cut, which Romero felt was too long and he prefers the theatrical cut, and then I also watched what is known as the Argento cut, but could more correctly be called Zombie. That's how it was released.
Without the E at the end?
Like the Wii U game, Zombie.
Crazy Italian bastards.
Yeah.
Wacky fun.
In any cut, and I would advise anybody to watch all of them, and also to watch them in the correct order, which is watch the theatrical cut first, then watch the can cut, and then watch the zombie cut. There are significant differences between the theatrical cut and the Argento cut, and it does feel different, like a vibe, but ultimately the same great film with most of the same key points. Some versions of it are more fun than others, but it's always fun. You can see why it's inspired a generation of sort of copycat zombie films and gets homaged regularly. One of the big differences in the Argento cut is it doesn't include the helicopter gag, which is a great gag, but it is rather telegraphed, isn't it, by that guy's massive head.
Yeah.
Like Lloyd Grossman on Reeves and Mortimer.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. But what I have really come to appreciate about this in recent years I didn't really get as a teenager is it has some, because like obviously I knew that it was meant to be like a satire and that there were fun moments in it, it was a fun film, but what I've come to appreciate about it in recent years is that there are some really kind of somber moments and it does move you. So all round I'm a fan, and I was glad to watch it again, to revisit it, and glad to have multiple versions of it to watch as well.
Yeah, you mentioned the cuts there, the theatrical cut, which is Romero's obviously first choice for US theatrical cut. He also did another one called the Perfect Cut, which is 142 minutes, a zombie cut, which you've already mentioned, the can one. There was another one, extended version called the Extended Mall Hours, which is 155 minutes. There's an Australian theatrical cut, 2 Japanese cuts, overdubbed in Japanese as well.
Too much. Fucking hell.
There's a one called the Japanese Suspiria cut, which is a Argento's cut down to 90 minutes.
Reset it in a fucking German ballerina school, has he?
90 minutes. Should have bloody watched that.
90 minutes.
I think, as Ben will tell you, Japanese cuts are predominantly cut to cut gore, right? And be a very watered down, tame version.
In the past, yeah, they would have been. I don't do it as much anymore.
That's it. Well, this film at the time, obviously, they were trying to get it through to cinemas and things like that. And then they came against all the different film classification boards and stuff. So it was just facing slashes here, there, and everywhere. Right. Ben.
Well, I like zombie films,
Mm-hmm.
so much so that I'm usually very forgiving when it comes to watching them. I've seen all of the Resident Evil movies, for example, but I just found this one dull. For the most part, I didn't care about the characters, particularly the pilot and the blonde guy. They just kept making frustratingly poor decisions, and I was quite pleased when they died. The tussles with the zombies were dull. They were just slow. They lacked any sense of danger. Like everyone, basically, if they wanted to escape, they could. When they didn't, it was their own stupidity. Like this guy in the sombrero who decided to go back to test his blood pressure again for the second time.
That's hilarious.
Oh, I love it. It's my favourite bit.
The moments of satire and social commentary, I think they worked really well, and they the highlights, but they were few and far between. So overall, I give it, it's probably worth watching once to see the early days of zombie cinema. But thankfully, since then, we've come a long way, baby.
I think that you're in a vicious minority there of people who prefer Paul W.S. Anderson to George A. Romero.
What's your nickname for him, Gaz?
Wankstein, Paul Wankstein Anderson.
Ironically, his real name.
And that's out of 5 for anyone who cares.
Oh, that's out of 5. Okay. No, but no, I don't think anybody here cares. Right. And on that note, Gaz.
I'm much more on the side of Super Dude, and I'm assuming in advance, Adam. The thing that I really like about this film and Romero's work in general is you can tell it's an independent, handmade film, but it's of the highest possible quality. The effects are just, they're brilliant. They're really, really brilliant.
That helicopter gag's insane.
Yeah, it's so good. And the machete into the zombie's head, just straight in one take. It's seamless, absolutely seamless. Yeah, I mean, this, along with Martin and Night of the Living Dead, are my 3 favourite Romero films. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's the right mix of high and low art that always just makes a film sing to me with its, as previously mentioned, it's critiquing of consumerism, which is someone who's worked in retail for the vast majority of their adult life. You get to see a lot of consumerism and the strange kind of avarice that people have for things and products, and see it brought to life in kind of a comical and ghastly way through a zombie apocalypse. It's that opening just feels, to me, so real, like a sustained panic attack of what would happen if the world ended. With everybody just shouting over each other and
chaos, just
general chaos. It really, that for me is the most frightening sequence because it feels so real.
Yeah, what's interesting about that is it epitomizes what you said about this feeling like a handmade but high quality film. It's a very closed environment, that the TV studio, and there's not a lot of action or actors in it. But the panic feels global to me when I watch that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just really clever the way that he does it.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how he achieves that. It's very much close quarters, but it feels far-ranging. I mean, just the voice clips on the radio that you hear from other areas, the shots from the helicopter of like the country hicks forming posses, like possibly they were the posse from the end of Night of the Living Dead, perhaps. He killed the hero in that, to link it back. It's just instant, excellent world building that grounds you in the more comedic and satirical elements to come. It's way up there for me as one of my all-time favourite horror films, and it's always a pleasure to watch it. I may well invest in a higher-end Blu-ray with the many cuts at some point. Watch it if you haven't seen it, Peril Pals.
Oh, yes.
Very high praise indeed. Thank you very much. As for me, it's simply one of my favourite films, 100% in my top 10. It's one of those films that makes me feel incredibly lucky to be part of that generation where we got to experience like the video nasties and these genre-defining films while they were still relatively fresh and while they were still shocking. And it hasn't been overspoiled by all the CGI gore and things like that we see these days. So had such a huge impact on me when I was a kid, first seeing it for the first time. It was my first ever zombie movie. It was one of those ones taped late at night by my dad, and he said, "Why don't you watch this?" to my brother and me. Yeah, I agree with both you, Super Dude and Gaz. I think it's just a wonderful, wonderful film. And now we're looking at it through the lens of this podcast. It's even taken on even greater meaning to me.
Yeah. I think, Ben, if you haven't seen it, I think you would enjoy the 2002 remake, which I really enjoy.
I think I have seen that.
Is it 2004, isn't it?
2004, was it?
Yeah. It's got lots of stuff to like.
Yeah, it doesn't really win on the satire level, as you might expect, having seen some Zack Snyder movies before.
Yeah. Does it win on the slow-mo level? That guy loves his slow-mo.
I don't remember having any in it, actually. In fact, it opens with this great ambulance chase, doesn't it? It's just like properly fast. And it's just a great action movie. It, like, as with most things, I feel like maybe Snyder didn't get Dawn of the Dead when he saw it. Because there's no satire about consumerism.
Romero didn't like it, did he? He just said, what's the point? What was the point? They just like ended up in a mall and he just didn't like it.
If you're going to do like a modern remake of that, you need to decide what obsession you're going to focus on. Like maybe you could do one about like social media now, where everybody dying because they're on their phones.
Smartphones, bloody smartphones. Zombies walking through train stations looking at their phones slow me down.
People are afraid of 5G, aren't they? Like fucking idiots are afraid of 5G, aren't they?
Yeah, you could do that, yeah. You could do that, say maybe a 5G zombies or something like that in the London Underground or something, I don't know.
And maybe like I'm the hero and I've got like a mallet and I'm just going through train stations.
No, I'm not buying
People looking at their phones slow me down. I'm just hammering the backs of their heads till they collapse and I'm running over their bodies and getting to my train on time.
Would you choose a sledgehammer though? If you have to have a weapon, what would your zombie apocalypse weapon be?
I wouldn't say sledgehammer. I was thinking more of like one of those big like concrete mallets. Yeah, like one of those. But what are the big ones that you use for breaking down walls?
Yeah, sledgehammer.
Yeah, sledgehammer then.
And you got a lump hammer. Lump hammer is the one with just a big piece of metal at the end, and that'd be pretty good for taking out zombies, I reckon.
Yeah, I don't know. Both of those feel like they would be too inelegant and imprecise to me, and what I'd want is a sack full of doorknobs.
How about you, Gus?
What was the question?
What's your zombie apocalypse weapon?
I reckon all you'd need, right, is a good fistful of dry spaghetti, and then you could just ram that really hard, like through their eye, into their brain.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, but I think it only survives so many smashes, and especially if you got it not right every single time, eventually the pasta would break down to like a...
Get 3 or 4 packs, man. Think ahead. Think ahead. Think 3 or 4 family packs.
I don't think it would break like that, though. I think what would happen is after you've gone into 3 or 4 mushy eyeballs, it'd just be al dente. It'd be a little bit floppy.
Well, there you go. You got yourself a meal ready.
What you want is the little gas canister from No Country for Old Men, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Perfect.
Or get a nail gun and put the pasta in the nail gun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, throw the nails on the floor, put pasta in it instead.
Empty the nails out.
You could get like you silly, and then it would spin out of the gun barrel and it'd drill into their head.
Oh, yeah.
You silly.
Yeah.
Never
You're
mind.
silly, yeah. You're silly. Let's move on to favourite sequences. We'll start with Gaz.
It's the extended opening sequence, which begins in the news station first with absolute chaos as they're trying to both deliver and decipher the news about the currently ongoing apocalypse, with Romero himself playing the news director very angrily, very surlily. And then we cut across to the SWAT team in the projects clearing out lots of people of colour zombies, and there's a preacher with a crutch for a leg, and there's a room
It's so good.
with zombies trapped inside because they believe in the sanctity of life, and it's all just, everything's going to shit, and you think, well, you know straight away the world's done. Who are our heroes, and what are they going to do for the rest of this film now? Because they're not going to save the world. Yeah, very, very different kind of film in that regard. Quite, being as it was made in 1978, quite a 70s film in terms of its general feeling of hopelessness and not really nihilism, but that kind of feeling of we're fucked as a species.
And worrying about what you can do about it, isn't it? Basically going, what the hell are we going to do? And everybody panicking.
Yeah.
It gets the expert on the first bit, then it goes to the other eye patch expert later on, doesn't he? And his solutions are even worse. But it's like sort of in a way kind of logical as well, isn't it? So
yeah.
Cool. Ben, did you have a favourite sequence?
Funny enough, I was going to mention the second TV expert part. I think that part is put alongside Roger's death, isn't it? And I just think that part works really, really well.
His name is Dr. Millard Rausch. He's my favourite character.
Yeah.
He's like Francis Ford Coppola. My favourite performance. Crazy eye patch scientist guy. He's just great.
It feels so believable, and it feels like to get all that exposition in so effectively, and so you don't feel like it's just a dump is really well done. And I think they do something similar later on, but they drive the story forward using this expert on TV. I thought it was really good. And then a little cheeky bonus for you. Cream pie and zombies. Gotta love it.
Everybody loves a cream pie zombie. Super dude.
Well, yeah, I was also going to highlight Dr. Millard Rausch, but I do have other favourite moments. I'll go for the discussion around the abortion. I think that when they think she's not listening to them, that whole scene is obviously very harrowing to watch in any context, but I just think it's really well written and well played out by all of the cast.
Gaylen Ross, who plays Francine, actually argued with Romero, argued for a more prominent role for herself and not to be like the weak link in it, and to try and be the heroine rather than just like the damsel in distress. So she was the one who did that, and she's the only one of the 4 stars that actually went on to have like a reasonable career and is still directing films and stuff.
Yeah, she's great.
That's interesting you say that, because it does feel a bit muddled, her role. Because there's one point where she's bullseyeing zombies from the roof, and then a scene later she's missing mannequins from a foot away.
Oh yeah, she isn't. She sort of, well, she's not quite. She's shooting at the zombies for quite a while, isn't she?
But she's hitting them, and then she can't hit a mannequin.
Yeah, but she has about 3 or 4 shots at that.
Don't defend her, Adam.
Whoa, listen. If you want to be a misogynist, that's your own problem.
Could just be a very different experience handling different types of firearms. I mean, I know in most movies, everybody's an expert with every type of gun, but I think in real life that's maybe not the case.
I got my RF marksman badge at cadet, so I'm pretty good. Also, now, if these aren't credentials, I don't know what are. I won a sheriff's badge at Disney by hitting 10 out of 10 targets. So
Nice.
That's not the sheriff's badge that I think of when I think of you anyway. So.
If you're talking rusty, I haven't done that for a very long time.
We shall go to favourite lines and Ben.
Mine's quite near the beginning, and it's as the 4 of them are escaping on the helicopter, and they're discussing, bad guys and looters. And Peter says, "Wake up, sucker. We're thieves and we're bad guys. That's exactly what we are." Great line, delivered with aplomb.
Oh, he's great, isn't he? Old Ken Foree, isn't it? I think his name is.
He's really good.
Brilliant. Super dude.
I'll go for a Peter line as well, not just because it's great in this, because it's had a great legacy as well. It's "Don't open that door, baby."
Yeah, he gets all the best lines, I think, in this, pretty much.
I mean, I assume that's what the Resident Evil line is a reference to.
Yeah, more than likely. Gaz?
I think mine's more because of how the actor delivers it. It's Dr. Foster on, I think, the first news broadcast section, where he's just explaining about the zombies, and he says, "Every dead body that is not exterminated becomes one of them. It gets up and kills. The people it kills get up and kill." I think it's just how he says the word kill each time.
Yeah, he really emphasises the kill, doesn't he? Yeah. It's really fantastic. Yeah, I've got that written down as well as one of my many, many favourite quotes. But I would say mine is another Peter line, and it's when they're getting the helicopter refueled, and he confronts Stephen after he's just tried to shoot a zombie and almost kill him, and he takes aim at him and never pointed a gun at anybody. Scary, isn't it? Isn't it? That's like, oh, it's brilliant. Lovely.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men?
Turn your dial to find the frequency of the past.
Captain Advice.
Where the classic stories of mysteries, sci-fi, thrillers, and suspense are found waiting to be heard once again.
Another case for Nick Carter, Master Detective.
You'll find a variety of those stories here, in their original form, where each episode takes you to another place or time.
The Man of Bronze, Doc Savage.
But only when you find the mystery frequency. Available everywhere.
The Shadow knows.
4 survivors, Stephen, Peter, Roger and Fran, seek refuge in a shopping mall during a zombie apocalypse. They fortify the mall and enjoy a period of relative safety, but lose Roger after some careless hot wiring of trucks. However, that peace is shattered once again when a biker gang discovers the mall and wants what's inside for themselves. The gang try to establish contact with the remaining trio and, after receiving no reply, break in, leading to chaos as zombies flood the building. Super Dude, what do you think of the bikers' scheme?
Scheme's a very generous word.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. It's very kind of brainless, isn't it, ironically?
Yeah, who's the most brainless ones, the zombies or the bikers?
Yeah.
Makes you think. Really makes you think.
Did they think that the people in there would be undefended, and the survivors in the mall don't have a much better plan for dealing with them? But yeah, their plan's dreadful. They just go in half-cocked, don't they? They almost look like they have a bit of a death wish, I think is the way I would describe it. Live fast, die young.
Leave a reanimated corpse.
I was going to say, yeah. Leave a terrible-looking Smurf-corpse.
Gaz?
Yeah, not much of a plan. But I guess from their perspective, they've got the numbers advantage.
Yeah.
So they're not running in half-cocked. They think that they're going to just rout the place and take what they want and fuck off to the next place. I guess hubris is their downfall in that case. Yeah, you know, they're just a gang of looting thugs, aren't they? Without much thought going into what they're doing.
I wonder if it's intentional that Peter describes them on their approach as something like a well-trained militia.
Professional army, yeah.
Professional army, yeah. And then obviously they're not that.
No, they're not. They're just a load of dudes on a bike waving guns around.
Going through a zombie apocalypse on the loudest motorbikes in the history of motorbikes.
Right.
So, Ben, how's your undead broccoli looking?
I mean, for all the reasons we've just discussed, the bikers are getting one floret of reanimated broccoli from me.
Oof.
Foolish plan. Well, not even a plan.
I think how's your undead broccoli doing should be the new how's it hanging.
We've reached that point again, folks. This is the part of the show where we all compete for peril points by offering our own diabolical plans. During the biker attack and ransack of the mall, our heroes decide to fight back. Picking off a number of the gang, many are immobilized and make easy pickings for the assembled zombies. The remainder of the gang make their exit, and Peter and Francine escape in a helicopter. But can we help the bikers raid the shops without incurring the wrath of the occupants, both undead and alive? Gaz, what have you got for us?
Here comes my big dong. Ding dong! Head biker Tom Savini rings the doorbell of the shopping mall, but he ain't wearing his biker suit. Instead, he wears a plain greyish suit and has his unruly mop of hair neatly brushed back. He finishes the look off by wearing some nice cologne. I don't know which, as I don't wear it myself because it dries out my skin terribly. The point is that he is looking his best and therefore feeling his best. He carries along with him a briefcase full of the fanciest new gadgets on the market. A GPS positioning system, a Burger King specialty sandwich, an Interton Video Computer 4000, a pot noodle, some Huggies, nappies, or diapers, if you prefer, a Laserdisc player, a Magnavox Odyssey 2, don't know what that one is, Kenner Star Wars action figures, a Coors Light, a Casio FX502P series wristwatch, and finally a Trapper Keeper. All state-of-the-art stuff for a travelling salesman to be carrying with him, I'm sure you'll agree. When the door is answered by our consumerist heroes, they have no other instinct but to let Tom Savini in to gather round and marvel at his wares. Aye, Chihuahua, they would likely say at all that stuff. Meanwhile, the rest of the bikie gang would slip in unnoticed as Savini models a diaper and struts about the place like Mick Jagger, waving his arms about and that. The zombies, too, are utterly entranced by the new stuff, old instincts kicking in, and they gather on each floor to take a look at these new fantastical sights. Bish bash bosh, the bikie gang get all the food and guns that they need by being really, really, really quiet. And our heroes get some new shit to keep themselves amused during their end-of-the-world incarceration. Everybody's happy.
Wouldn't quite a lot of that stuff already be in the mall, though?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Every single item we just discussed was already in the mall.
It's new on the market. New on the market at the end of 1978. I Googled it. I went onto a lovely website called google.com and found the products.
Tell me more. The end of 1978. So it was all released after this film was set.
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Well, how the hell was it made and released then?
They have their ways. Oh my goodness. These bikers, they have their ways.
Oh, he's bloody done it, hasn't he? That's all we've got in there, but he's wriggled out of it.
All the zombies that worked in factories while they were living continued working in factories after they died. That's what I think happened.
Yeah, sorting out the marketing plans and
They might have lifted a couple of the products as well, stuck them up their little jumpers. Yeah. You never know.
I think the bit I'm struggling with is
the doorbell.
Savini is distracting enough that the whole biker gang is able to sneak in behind him.
They're like tiptoeing with their fingers on their lips, like in Scooby-Doo or something. And then when one of our heroes looks around to look at them, they just freeze, and then they can't see them. And then they turn away again, and they start tiptoeing, really expressively tiptoeing.
Are they wearing their shoes or have they taken them off?
Ooh, yeah, perhaps they've taken them off. They're just in their white socks.
Very white but dirty socks.
Yeah, sweaty white socks. Ew.
Sweaty, dirty white socks that have now actually turned sort of like a beige colour.
It's hard to keep them white, isn't it?
Yes, once they lose that sheen.
I reckon the whiff of their feet might attract zombies as well.
And also, when that fella in the sombrero sees that blood pressure station, he's going to have a fucking whoop-de-whoop field day, and he's going to give it all away. So
he can't resist. He
just can't resist the power of blood pressure machines.
He needs to know if he's healthy.
If we accept that counter-argument to Gaz's plan, that kills everyone's plan. Because that means there's no way for the bikers to get into the mall without blood pressure guy ruining every plan conceivable. So I think we're going to have to rule that one as fine.
My plan survives it.
I don't think it does. In fact, I'm going to bring it up when you're done.
Okay, I think we should use that maybe as a yardstick against all our plans. With the blood pressure guy ruining. On that note, are there any further questions for Gaz?
Apart from where the guy's got all this stuff, nothing.
Details.
We'll have Ben next, and the blood pressure guy is going to be knocking at your door very soon.
The mall is a fine prize, but if you want to claim it for your very own, you must be patient. Play the long game, like a game of Monopoly, which, as we all know, lasts so long that no one has ever really finished one. Well, not properly, anyway.
I sure as hell haven't. Genuinely.
I hate playing it with my family. I hate it.
Moreover, you need to play a strategic game, like chess, which I'm assured requires much strategy, a little cunning, and a verifiably intact virginity. And so the fellow in the army helmet, who is the de facto leader of the bikers on account of him having his very own helmet, gets on the radio. "Hello, 1-9er breaker," he says. "We requested that you share your ample bounty with us." Of course, the mall folk don't want to share, and so answer in the negative, indicating that they will indeed not share their ample bounty. Army Hat Man, however, is more than prepared for this eventuality. "Come on," he says. When the next rejection arrives, Army Hat Man is again prepared. "Come on," he repeats in a noticeably whinier tone. "Come on. Please. Come on. Oh, come on." That convincing display should guarantee them access. Of course, the mall folk may simply switch off the radio, in which case, Army Hat Man will gather his biker chums and head quietly to the mall, where they walk around to the side of the building where the helipad is and boost each other up or use a ladder to climb onto the low adjoining roof. They then gather around the open skylight and coo a harmonious chorus of, "Come on!" With the blonde guy dead already, from his own stupidity, the mall folk will soon relent and invite the bikers in for tea and tracksuits. I'll tell you where I got that from, and that's been in my head for about 17 years. We were camping, me and my two brothers and my dad, and for some reason my dad wired up a radio to a car battery and listened to the radio in the tent. And it was this like talk radio, and it was this priest saying how he deals with addicts. He says, you know, I just go and have a word with them and I say, "Come on." That's his strategy for dealing with drug addiction.
Amazing.
Come on, what are you doing?
Be a friend.
Probably had a 0% success rate with that one, didn't they? All through.
I think Gaz was thinking the same thing I was. That Simpsons episode where the private detective is it Rex Bannerman he's trying to convince to leave town or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you know if you don't like a bribe if you've never tried one? Hey, this feels nice. No. But my problem with this plan is the fact that the blood pressure guy would already be in the mall testing the shit out of himself. Peter will be like, what's your mate doing testing that?
Because he doesn't know it's there till they get inside.
No, but that's the whole reason why that guy wanted to go in. He knew it was in there.
No, he didn't.
No, he did.
He didn't.
And he could see it through the skylight. He could see there's a blood testing machine down there. We've got to get in here now.
He couldn't. It's a stock room.
Even if he doesn't know, once they get in.
Yeah, they're allowed in then. You can use as much as you want. Peter's going to go, "Man, you're crazy." And Roger's going to be dead. And Maud, or whatever her name is going to be brushing her hair.
Maud.
I think that guy is so obsessed with his health.
Yeah.
He will break into that mall.
Yeah, but he doesn't know it's there. You've got to know it's there. And he doesn't.
But he knows there's health food shops in there. He wanted to get to that. But when he sees that blood pressure machine, that's the ice, the cherry on the cake.
But he's already allowed in there, so he doesn't see it till he's in there.
He's going to Holland and Barrett straight after he's been on that blood testing machine.
Yeah, but he doesn't know it's in there yet. On his way to Holland and Barrett, he sees the blood testing machine, and then he has a freak out. But by then, they're all buddies. And Steve just slaps him on the back and goes, "Knock yourself out, guy." And they're all just laughing as he's whooping.
Happy as Larry getting tested.
Then the bikers form an orderly queue, and they're all getting the blood pressure done.
Okay. Very good. Very good. I like it. Super Dude, can we have a look at your plan, please?
The bikers have a few stops to make before they hit the mall, so it's daylight by the time they arrive. Not by motorcycle convoy, but in a relatively quiet line of Hillman Avengers, Ford Escorts, Vauxhall Vivas, and other popular company cars of the day. The paranoid survivors have spent the night keeping tabs on the highway, and now, spent and crashed, sleep through the arrival of their resource rivals. No longer clad in the black leather that typifies their lifestyle, the bikers have disguised themselves as creatures so terrible that the occupants of the mall, both living and dead, will do anything to avoid interacting with them. Sex Machine waltzes into the mall wearing a tan jacket with beige trousers and brown shoes, a white shirt in desperate need of ironing, and a Garfield tie around his neck. Under his arm, he carries brochures for double glazing. He attempts to get the attention of several zombies who instinctively swerve to avoid him. His girlfriend, Starla, is trying to hand out pamphlets spreading the good news about Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. A soul zombie politely takes a pamphlet, rounds a corner, and bins it. Sledge is trying to convince some zombies to switch to Scottish Power's new flexible tariff. As the survivors wake and enter the mall, they seem to stare right through the disguised bikers. Blades even tries to address Peter and Francine directly, but they find themselves drawn into a pretend conversation with each other, just hoping to avoid any talk of UPVC skylights. Free to wander the mall essentially invisibly, the bikers play the long game, slowly helping themselves to guns, ammo, canned food, clothing, smoothies, and Auntie Anne's pretzels before leaving quietly. As the final biker backs out of the mall, waving a placard warning of the impending end of the world, Roger mutters under his breath to Stephen that they should ignore the poor crazy fuck. So they become all of the people that you see in the mall that you don't want to talk to.
Ah.
What's the blood pressure guy doing?
Oh.
He is disguised as a blood pressure unit salesman guy.
But he's like a junkie selling crack or whatever, or heroin.
High in his own supply.
Yeah, he's not doing anything. He's just sat there on that machine, ruining everything.
Yeah, so what the difference is, in the movie, he's just fucking around on the machine like la la la. But in this version, he goes in there and he's saying to the zombies, "Come and get your blood pressure tried," and the zombies are like double taking and just trying to get out of there because they're embarrassed.
Because they remember.
Because they remember.
That's interesting.
They know because they're zombies, there's going to be no blood pressure, pretty much.
Exactly.
So there's no point trying it. Okay, I like that, yeah.
There must be some pressure because when they get hit, the blood trickles out, right? So there must be something.
yeah. There must be something. But maybe they're worried that he'll, like,
Be very
cast
low.
judgment on them and say, "Oh, you've got low blood pressure." Or
Yeah,
it's
and you
too
don't want
high.
to get into that conversation.
You need to start eating more salt.
Yeah, and then it'd be like, yeah.
If I want my blood pressure taken, I go to the doctor's, not the mall. That's what they're all thinking, the zombies.
Okay.
So how do the bikers get in so quietly and undetected?
Well, they come in those cars, which are quieter than the motorcycles.
Yeah.
And then, it's the mall. They just go in.
Oh, right. So it's already open.
No, it was never locked. They just go in.
That's what the trucks are for blocking the entrance.
Yeah, but they just go on foot. It's fine. They park up in the car park, and then they just
Just go in. Just go into the locked up mall. Okay.
just walk. They go in the tradesman's entrance.
Ooh.
Oh,
As you know, tradesman's entrance, you press a button and it opens temporarily. You just go in.
If you say tradesman,
You just have to be there at the right time of day.
Tradesman calling.
It only works between the hours of like 7 and 8 a.m. So long as you get there at that time.
trading hours.
Yeah. And then because all of the survivors are asleep, they don't think to guard that door or see what's going on or anything.
Okay. Okie dokie. Then I shall bring us home.
Waka, 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 fuck off.
As the Nazi biker leader looks through his binoculars at the mall, he thinks it's locked up tight. And a helicopter on the roof as well. They could be seriously tooled up geezers in there, not to mention the hundreds of zombies aching to get in the place. No, to go in there all guns blazing would be a bad idea. And isn't it time that stereotyping of bikers as dirty, lawless thugs was challenged? Too right it is. Slowly stroking the SS symbol on his helmet, an idea comes to him. He hatches a plan of undeniable quality. He dispatches two of his best men and tells them to grab a couple of empty dustbins, or garbage cans if you will, and start banging them about in the woods, over there, and waving their dicks about too, shouting if the zombies want a nibble, next to the beef burgers. The zombies can't resist a good noise, and with the smell of cooking flesh and onions, they head over to investigate. Unfortunately for the zombies, the wood is absolutely filled, with those sticky plants that get stuck to your clothes. There's so many plants, in fact, that they act like a big net and capture all the zombies, who comically fall over into it and act all surprised and frightened, as they don't know what is happening to them. With all the zombies dealt with, they turn to the mall's other inhabitants. Then the gang drives down to the mall in a van, with a white flag attached to the back. They radio the survivors and tell them to look outside and see there is only one van of them and a handful of zombies outside now, and they are desperate for supplies after getting rid of the other zombies. So would they please help them? Pretty please with sugar on top. As they seem to have done the survivors a favour by clearing out the zombies, Francine manages to convince Peter and Stephen to let them drive into the mall and collect some much-needed supplies. They even stay and cook dinner in the restaurant and leave the next day after nothing bad happens. The end.
Well, you know what I'm going to ask you, don't you?
Yeah. He's in the van, and when they let him in, he just says to Peter, see, there's a blood pressure machine over there. Peter's like, yeah. He's, do you mind if I have a go on it? Have a go? And Peter's like, fill your boots if you want to. Just go over there. And he just lets him go on it for like half an hour, just constantly testing himself.
No zombies in there anymore, is there?
No zombies in there.
Do you think the man in the sombrero has the self-restraint to ask? This is a man that killed himself by going on the blood pressure machine the second time.
Yeah, but that was only when they went in there as a lawless mob. Now, the leaders said, no, we've got to change our stereotyping. We can't just go in there all guns blazing and be like, yeah, woohoo, woo, and all this kind of stuff. So he says, we'll drive in. We'll ask them nicely first. Then they'll let us in. We'll drive in. And then be polite while you're in there. And that's what he does. He just says, can I go on it? And Peter says, yeah, if you want to go on it, do it. And after half an hour, he's sick of it. Goes to Holland and Barrett and gets some echinacea.
Nice.
I think, yeah, this is the only one where the blood pressure guy isn't a problem because you got the zombies out first, which none of us did.
There were no zombies in there because they'd already been cleared.
The zombies are outside, but when they open the doors in the film, the zombies come in, don't they? But I got rid of the zombies in the sticky plants in the woods.
Yeah, but they climb onto the roof in mine, so they're allowed in. So also works for mine, just underlining that fact.
He's not polite in that. He's just like desperate, and he sees the blood pressure machine and he wants to get in there before he sees Holland and Barrett.
Here's a question for you then. So we mentioned earlier about zombies being attracted to noises that are familiar and kind of related to food. Mm-hmm. I don't think the sound of a garbage can being smashed about is...
They were shouting as well. I did say they'd get their cocks out and go, hey, I've got my cock out. Do you want a little label on this? Whoa.
Yeah, that's the difference, isn't it? It's not the bin lids, it's the
that
cock.
saved you, that. The little cock nibble. Once again, a cock nibble has saved you.
Yeah.
You just do the things that you would have done in life.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a load of cottagers.
You're just like walking along, minding your business, and you hear that and you look over. What do?
You investigate, obviously.
It's best described as zombie dogging. They're just like, I'm just going to go and have a look at what they're doing over there. Oh, he's got his cock out.
So basically these bikers are sacrificing themselves for the good of the rest of them.
Yeah, well, no, they didn't. They got them into the woods, and then the zombies are there and go in there, and then they get all stuck in the sticky plants.
And then they leave.
And then the others make their escape, yeah.
Yeah, Gaz, have you ever been essentially paralysed by sticky weed?
By sticky weed? No, don't think so. I've had quite a lot stuck to me unawares. We call it sticky willy. Isn't it called Sticky Willy?
I don't know.
Only in dogging circles.
We've had quite a few laughs about that over the years. No, not paralysed. I've been slowed down to like walking in slow motion.
Okay.
I've had to whip out a Zippo lighter and burn it off myself and then roll along the ground through some damp mud to put myself out. And then I've had to jump into a river to wash the mud off. And then I've...
Stop the bees chasing you.
Yeah, and then I've had to whip out a hairdryer to dry myself off. But no, I haven't been paralysed by it.
A lot more depth in that answer than I thought when I asked the question.
I don't know what I was expecting here, but I Googled Sticky Willy.
Oh my God.
Does your computer just crashed? Super Dude, have you ever been restrained fully by sticky willies?
Never fully.
I posit that out of the four of us on this podcast, 100% of us have never been restrained by sticky weed. And therefore, sir, I put it to you that your plan would not work.
Therefore, sir, I bite my thumb at thee.
I love this result here for the question, why is it called Sticky Willy? And the answer is, commonly known as sticky weed or sticky willy, due to the plant's sticky tendencies. It cleaves to animal fur, human boots, and we don't want to know why it's sticky. Why is it called willy?
Specifically, the willy part. Is sticky weed native to North America?
Oh.
Google's American sticky willies.
Oh, it says here on the Wikipedia page, it specifically says it doesn't grow in the region where Dawn of the Dead is set. It doesn't name the region. It's just what it says.
I'd like to remind you all, this is set in 1978 and you can't Google stuff then. So, yeah, you know.
It's also known as angiosperms and gentianals.
What?
You just gotta have to look it up and have some fun.
Well, those plans were so diabolical, I think they could raise the dead. In summary, we had Gaz's smart-dressed biker scheme, Ben's desperately pleading plan, Super Dude's unwanted attention assumption, and my friendly neighborhood biker plan. But there can only be 1, 2, 3 or 4 people going home with the points today. Ben, can you reveal which sucker won your vote?
It was the plan that I thought, although in the form delivered might not work, but the idea of a decoy or, distraction, and then the rest of the gang slipping in, I thought would work, so I vote for Gaz. And here's Casio Watch.
Yes.
You voted for a plan that you made up in your own head off the back of Gaz's plan that you didn't like.
Gaz, are you able to tell us which douche you deem superior?
Ready, willing, and able to say that I voted for Super Dude.
Super douche.
Oh, yes.
Super Dude, is there a honky here that you favour?
He's been starved of my votely attention for quite some time. He's going to be pleased. It's Ben.
Oh!
Yes.
He nearly lost it to the Sticky Willy until he made me realise that there's no way that's working. I just assumed it would until I thought about it, and I was like, oh yeah.
I think I got an unfair amount of questioning on that. I think if I'd got the same amount of questioning as the rest of the year, I would have got a point there, but oh well.
Listen, if you're going to use something called Sticky Willy, expect questions.
As for me, my jerk of the week goes to Super Dude.
Yeah, he's off.
How's he got 2 points? That was by far the worst scheme. Made no sense. They just suddenly were in the mall.
I think you'll find mine was the worst scheme, because I didn't get any points.
I will admit now that it's all over that I forgot that they would have to get in the mall.
See? That was a gaping hole.
Oh, that's how they got in.
Gaz, what has that done to the diabolical leaderboard, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't mind at all, and thank you for asking. Remaining in the lead, but moving up to 5 points, is Gaz, that's me.
Oh.
In second place with 3 points is Super Dude.
Mm.
And bringing up the rear with 2 points apiece are Ben and Adam.
Well.
Very good. Super.
Gaz is leading,
super.
eh? Well.
Oh.
Next week, Gaz is picking a film. So, Gaz, let's hear what you've selected for us.
Well, next week, we're going to be doing one of our seasonally traditional episodes as we take on the black-clad vigilante known as the Batman in the film, which is called The Batman.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Starring Arbats as the Batman.
So next week we shall be watching The Batman. Be sure to tune into that. And that about wraps things up for another week. We are available across the socials on @DiabolicalPod, so why not talk back at us? Maybe suggest a film you'd like us to cover. You never know, you might even get a reply. Until next week, dear listeners. We whipped him, didn't we? We whipped him good.
Oh, shit.
Mother, get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
Mother, get up.
Written, directed, and edited by George A. Romero. Dawn of the Dead.
By who?
George A. Romero.
Can you start again? But before you do, can I just say something? Just read the comment on our Independence Day episode from longtime fan Adrian Mendoza.
Ah.
Oh, aye.
Great episode, guys. The winner is Ben. That song slaps. Happy 100th episode.
I was going to say thanks, Adrian, and thanks for being a long-time listener. But now, I just want to say, just fuck you, Adrian.
You've fallen for his cheap trick, Adrian, and he used mostly AI. So, more fool you. But you've got remarkable taste otherwise.
The sound of jealousy does not become you, Adam. It does not.
Who escaped the city of Pittsburgh, seeking refuge in a zombie mall. Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, it's pronounced Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh!
Very phlegmy at the moment. Very phlegmy.
Is this part of your plan?
Excusez-moi. It might be. Just have to wait and see.
You never know. You never know with Gaz how he's starting.
Yeah.
He hoodwinks you sometimes, doesn't he?
But that week when he said that he hadn't done a plan.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, it's all right. Right.
It's even funnier that was my episode that I was presented as well.